Welcome to CSE MAINS by Malhotra's IS Academy. I'm Surbhi Sardana and this is Season 3 of our Daily Answer Writing Initiative. This initiative is running in coordination with our website, which is rajisacademy.com. On our website, in the Mains Answer Writing section, click and reach this page, Daily Mains Answer Writing Challenge. All the questions that have been taken on Seize the Mains at 9 p.m. till date have been uploaded there with their respective model answers. What you can do is, after going through the model answer and this video, visit our website and post your answers to the respective questions in the comment section, which is under each question. Not only you can comment there, you can also see what other students are writing, and our team will evaluate your answers. In the next 48 hours, they'll respond back to you with their feedback. So that's how it goes. The topic for today is space debris and re-entry rocket stages. See, re-entry rocket stages, they can pose great harm to the human settlements back down on Earth. So this topic was covered. Re-entry satellites was covered, was seen in news recently. But of more concern to us is the re-entry rocket stages, because that is more frequent as compared to re-entries of satellites. And the second topic is space debris. See, these are very small topics, but since these are associated with associated concerns or issues with space missions, and the number of space missions, the frequency of space missions, if you talk about India also, it has gone up significantly, especially in the past few months. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, a lot of space missions were not happening. There was a halt. There were budgetary constraints for the government for 2-3 years. But now space missions are picking up. There is entry of private sector into space. So definitely any question which talks about issues related to the increasing space missions, that can be seen in mains. And these two are the most important topics, most common topics, commonly issued, commonly related concerns with any of the space missions. So we have framed a question as an amalgamation of both these issues, and we'll give adequate number of words to both the issues, and let's see what the question is trying to ask us and how will we address this. So yes, briefly explain the problems of uncontrolled re-entries of rockets and space debris associated with space missions. Discuss the range of challenges these problems pose or could pose for mankind. Answer in 250 words. Two issues have been asked from you. The first one is uncontrolled re-entries of rockets. The second one is the space debris, and these two issues are associated with space missions. Discuss the range of challenges these problems could pose for mankind. They already pose or could pose for mankind. So first of all, let's talk about space missions. Let's talk about space missions, how beneficial they are. Let's tell the examiner that the frequency of space missions is rising on one hand. On the other hand, back down on Earth, the population is rising. So earlier, we had a lot of isolated places on Earth, and even when re-entry vehicles or spent rocket stages, they were falling back on Earth, there were lesser damages to mankind or to living beings, so to say, or to any kind of settlements, urban, rural, tribal settlements, anything for that matter. But now, since the population is increasing, the number of settlements is rising, and the frequency of these space missions is rising, hence these problems are increasing, especially the re-entries. So let's see how we'll frame our introduction. Then we'll talk about the first issue, that is uncontrolled re-entries of rockets. We'll talk if there is any legislation associated with it, with the first issue, and the second one, that is space debris. You don't have to worry about a lot of legislations. The Outer Space Treaty would be applicable in most of your answers, and the Liability Convention. These two are the only treaties or the convention that you need to know and need to use in your answers related to space missions. And you don't have to worry about going through all what these legislations allow and what they do not. Whatever appears in the news is part of your syllabus. Anything that you learn out of curiosity is going to be beneficial for you. You do not have to delve into a lot of depths in a way that whatever you're doing, it becomes redundant. So yes, let's start with the introduction. Let's see that the frequency and technical prowess. So frequency and basically the kind of complexity, technical complexity. Complexity is not the word we've used. Technical prowess of space missions has increased immensely, especially in the previous 1 decade. We are mostly referring to upcoming of agencies like SpaceX, entry of private sector into space, and launching of outer space missions by various countries. Then, while the advancements are proving beneficial for mankind on one hand, talk about the positives first. In the introduction, do not start with a negative note, or do not use negative words. Do not use negative words. Use a diplomatic language even when to convey a negative meaning. While the advancements are proving beneficial for mankind, there are two major issues associated with space missions which are of concern for the global community, and these two issues are the issues that have been asked to us in the question. So yes, benefits are there. There are two major issues also. So in just 2 lines, we have written an introduction. Then let's write a body paragraph 1, because there in the exam you will not be giving titles to your paragraphs as introduction, as body paragraph. You will have to write in paragraph format, or you will have to give spacing accordingly in the various parts of your answer. So make sure that if you are taking the body paragraph approach, that is a consistent content that you are giving. For example, in body paragraph 1, we will be talking about spent rocket stages or uncontrolled re-entry of rocket stages, and in the next one, in the next body paragraph, we will talk about the space debris. So that means the examiner, even if he is reading without a title, he will be able to understand, she would be able to understand what you are writing about, and you are following an organized approach when it is coming to mains answer writing. So in the body paragraph 1, they say that rocket stages from a space mission fall back on Earth in an unguided fashion. We all know that once their missions are complete, especially the lower stages, stage 1, stage 2, they always fall back on Earth. Most of the times these spent stages, they burn up and disintegrate in the various layers of atmosphere, passing through various layers of atmosphere, and do not cause harm on their way back. So that is one thing. Most of the times they do not cause harm. However, since the re-entry of these rocket parts is unguided, there are various concerns associated with them. Unguided is the term here. Unguided is the key point here. If re-entering stages still hold fuel, atmospheric and terrestrial chemical contamination is another risk. There is no international binding agreement to ensure rocket stages always perform controlled re-entries, nor on the technologies with which to do so. So first of all, yes, there are concerns associated with their re-entry, especially if they are bigger in size. Mostly they do burn up in the atmosphere, but you can add one line here that if they are bigger in size when they are coming back on Earth, then that is a concern. Secondly, if they hold some unspent chemicals, which they always will, then it can cause, if they come down and they blast on Earth, then it can cause irreparable damage. Also, there is no international binding agreement controlling re-entry of vehicles or guiding the re-entry of vehicles. Yes, we are now moving to reusable vehicles, but again, since there is no legislation existing, we are still experimenting with that. The Liability Convention 1972, it requires countries to pay for damage but not prevent them. If something goes wrong, then the countries are liable, then negotiations can be held about what reparations need to be done. But for prevention, there is no guided re-entry of rocket stages, so to say, or even when a satellite fails to enter orbit and it does not enter orbit, rather it falls back on the Earth. For that also there is no legislation. Then in the body paragraph 2, you have you'll be talking about space debris. Space debris in its broadest sense refers to both the natural micrometeoroid and artificial orbital debris components of the space environment. So here you have defined space debris, that what we would be talking about. Over 7,500 of items of space junk that are at least 4 inches wide are currently in orbit, and even if something is 10 centimeter wide, that can harm your space mission significantly. So they are currently in orbit, 7,500 items of space junk, at least 4 inches wide or even bigger than that. So this is a data from ESA. Just keep updating this data whenever it comes up. Not very important data here, so to say, your economy data or society data, they are more important. But yes, if you see something, definitely note it down, use it in your answers. There is no harm in that. For operational satellites, this free floating space debris poses a risk, and hitting it can render the satellites inoperable. Also, your future space missions might suffer. The Space Liability Convention of 1972, it defines responsibility in a case a space object causes harm. The convention also provides for procedures for the settlement of claims for damages. So it is the Liability Convention of 1972 which we are talking about space debris. It is the same convention that we talked about here, but the Liability Convention has no legally binding instructions with regards to re-entry of rocket stages, but yes, it can provide settlement in case of space debris. So these problems pose the following challenges for mankind, because the next part of your question is discuss the range of challenges these problems pose or could pose for mankind. So the following problems are there. The first one is the risk from uncontrolled re-entries are growing as the global population grows. Conservative estimates place the casualty risk from uncontrolled rocket body re-entries as being on the order of 10% in the next decade. So more casualties can be seen, more loss of life and property can be seen. That is how you can frame or reframe this point. The second one is countries in global south, they face a greater challenge because because these countries, they are mostly in towards the ocean, not just in the global south, in these island nations as well. They are at a bigger risk than the global north. Example, parts of a SpaceX Falcon 9 that fell down in Indonesia in 2016, they included 2 refrigerator sized fuel tanks. So that is one example. This China's Long March 5B rocket, they hit parts of Maharashtra also. So again, these are not guided, these are not controlled, but they can harm countries which have nothing to do with any space mission or this particular space mission. Many of these island countries or countries in the global south which actually receive space debris, or they suffer through re-entry of used rocket stages or spent rocket stages on a regular level. These countries have never even launched a satellite of their own. They do not have a space program of their own. So without any fault of theirs, without it's like basically climate change. Without any fault of many of the countries, they are bearing the brunt of it, and island countries and the global south is at the receiving end of it. No denial about that. Then you have the Kessler syndrome, the very popular syndrome associated with space debris. It says that if there is too much space junk in orbit, it could cause a chain reaction where more and more objects collide and produce new space junk in the process until Earth's orbit is rendered useless. That is, a domino effect would occur, and Earth's orbit, outer space, it is global common for mankind, that would be rendered useless. So even if a country that does not have a space program or a space research program, they will not be able to get benefits out of outer space. So an impact anywhere on an airliner, our airlines industry would suffer a lot, because even a small thing hitting an airline can cause the death of all the passengers flying in that upper layers of atmosphere. So with the mass above 300 grams, anywhere around the mass of 300 grams, if anything strikes an airliner, it could produce a catastrophic failure, meaning all people on board would be killed. So these are about your challenges associated with these two concerns, these two issues. These are the challenges. Obviously this list can be updated, and this list must be updated by you, that what else can be the challenges, what else can be the issues associated with these two problems. Then in the conclusion, end on a flowy note, write 1-2 lines, but keep that conclusion with regards to science and tech only. Outer space treaty can be of very much use to you. Liability convention, we've already talked about it. You can talk about that atmosphere and outer space. Both of them are global commons for mankind, and hence everyone has right to use them for their benefit, and they should be used for the benefit of mankind. And all countries need to cooperate on an international level to deal with such issues. Also, legally binding agreements need to be created. Also, there is this latest technology of reusable vehicles and smaller satellites. You have CubeSats, you have nanosats coming up. So launch smaller satellites, improve on the efficiency that a satellite operates with, improve on the technology. Launch smaller satellites so that when they they're out of life, they expire, then they do not create a lot of space debris, they create very small space debris or very less space debris. Also, if they do not get into orbit, when they fall back on Earth, they do not cause a lot of damage, they get burnt up in the atmosphere. Also, talking about spent rocket fuel stages, it is high time that we move towards reusable rocket technology. India has already tested it, RLVTD, back in 2016. So yes, these are some of the way forwards or solutions that you can write in your answer, and definitely write them. Definitely, whenever it comes to science and tech, if you have completed the conceptual part completely, then definitely use such questions to your advantage. Talk about all the solutions that you can. Any new technology, any new reusable thing that a country has tested, talk about it in your answer. Then outer space and atmosphere are global commons of mankind. It is critical that all spacefaring nations and commercial entities act responsibly and transparently. Transparently is very important here in space to ensure the safety, stability, security and long-term sustainability of outer space activities. While the problem of managing space debris is an international challenge and a law should be framed by an international agency against space junk crashing back to Earth, Building smaller satellites and developing reusable rocket stages can act as potential solutions in the long run. So that's your answer. Yes, this while should not be here. It is a grammatical error. It should be just without the while. So yes, this entire answer is available on our website, which is rajisacademy.com. Click on the link in the description to visit our website and go to the mains answer writing section. Question number 150. Question number 150, yes. The numbering with our YouTube videos and the question number here, there's a difference with that, we understand. So we are maintaining that consistency to avoid any future confusion, but this is question 150. Watch out for question 150 on the website, even if you're not keen to write answers right now because you must be preparing for prelims. The year is changing, the financial year would be changing soon. Definitely at least read out the model answers that we are giving on a daily basis. These are all from current affairs and they will definitely help you immensely in your mains preparation. What you can do is just copy paste the content on some Google Drive or Google Docs whatsoever and highlight what you need from the answer. Highlight and add at least 1-2 points of your own to the answer that you've copied. So at least that way you will be able to finish topics for mains and sit more confidently in next prelims as well. So yes, my best wishes to you from me and my team. All the best, keep working hard, and I'll see you tomorrow again on Seize the Mains at 9 PM with another question and answer discussion.